Our job as a settlement agent is to transfer and effect good title to our client. So as a buyer, we want to make sure that that buyer has good title to their property on settlement. And as a seller, obviously make sure that all the conditions of sale are satisfied, their mortgage is paid out and the seller receives their funds at settlement. In addition to a buyer, obviously making sure that all the conditions on the contract are satisfied and working very closely with the buyer, the agent, and also brokers and banks to make sure that everyone's informed of progress of settlement. Main objective also is to make sure settlement's on time so people aren't inconvenienced in any way. So lots of things can go wrong during the process of settlement, and that's the important part of appointing a good settlement agent to represent a buyer or seller. For example, special conditions on contracts, termite building reports, making sure that they're satisfied or there's no issues with those reports. Attention to detail and time is very critical, especially with special conditions. For example, if your deposit's late, or if your finance is late, or if there's a condition that's not satisfied within the terms of the contract by the due date, they can be automatically waived, or a seller can terminate a contract if your finance is late. Other things that do go wrong, loss of documents through the mail system, or documents getting damaged. So as a result of that, we now encourage our clients to use the PEXA platform, which is the electronic platform for property conveyancing, and that platform actually does the financial part of settlement. So it's not the paper-based part, but the financial part. That PEXA platform provides our client with a lot more security. So there are lots of things that can go wrong, and again it's important to appoint someone that is very qualified to manage your settlement, whether you're selling or buying, and make sure that your interests are protected at all time. And that's our goal here. Part of our strategy is to look at a contract and look at what could go wrong and how we make sure that that doesn't happen for our clients, and just make sure that settlement happens and occurs as smoothly as possible. So whether you're selling or buying, it's important when you're speaking to your settlement agent that you let them know obviously where you're buying and selling, if there's any special conditions, if there's any concerns regarding the property that you need to be mindful of. Special conditions are very important on contracts of sale for buyers and sellers, so it's really important when you're talking to your settlement agent that you let them know what conditions are on the contract, and they can give you advice on timelines, which we spoke about before, if there's any other areas that the buyer or seller may not be aware of. So there's lots of little things that can go wrong if it's not done correctly, and it's just important again that you do speak to your settlement agent, whether you're buying or selling. Let them know specific things about the property, and then they can give you some good recommendations. One thing we're frequently asked is, what do we do as a settlement agent? Another thing we're asked for is, what is our price? And in reference to that, our price is based on quality of service. We do get questions about title insurance, we get questions about what the electronic platform is. So when you're speaking to your settlement agent, talk to them about costs. There's lots of associated government charges. By appointing your settlement agent, make sure you speak to them, make sure you have a clear understanding of what their role is, make sure you speak to them about their cost disclosure and what that includes, so there's a very clear understanding of what we do as your settlement agent and also what that's going to cost you.